Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I mentioned last Friday on a Zoom call that when my dad died, life was a little tough. We had to get people to bring food in at Christmas time. And I have to admit, that was the only time I remember that happening. And when I asked my mom whether we were poor or not, she was like, "Stop, you got a roof over your head. You'll have a meal 3 times a day for the rest of your life." And she loved to say, "Enough is as good as a feast," which of course is true. So we didn't have much. Things were spare always, but I never felt that. And if you were to look at our house in time, you would never know it from the outside. The inside looked like a bomb went off. My mother was the world's worst housekeeper with a nose in a book all the time. But on the outside, this British woman had this beautiful English garden with all these beautiful flowers blooming in front of the yard. And if you walked around the back, oh my Lord, the raspberry bushes just took up the whole length of the backyard, and they became jams and all kinds of goodies. Oh, those raspberries were so good. It was flourishing. The whole thing, the flowers and the raspberries, it was wonderful. And again, on the inside, yeah, it was pasta 5 nights a week, But the outside was beautiful. It was flourishing. And that picture comes to my mind of my mom's English garden and her massive raspberry patch and raspberries. That image comes to my mind when I listen to the reading today from Isaiah, in which God again goes off the rails in terms of what he's going to do. You see he says, the afflicted are thirsty and they're reaching out, and he says this, "I will answer them. I'll turn the desert into a marshland, the dry grounds into springs of water. I'll plant the desert. In the desert I will plant the cedar, the acacia, the myrtle, the olive trees. I'll set in the wasteland the cypress and the plane tree and the pine." Again, the Lord is like bubbling over with what he's going to do. With what he is going to do. He's going to bring about abundance. And that's the theme, I think, for the week. God desires abundance for his people. And that abundance does, in fact, operate on 2 levels. It is an abundance of spirit, an abundance of faith, an abundance of heart, an abundance of soul. That's the deepest abundance that the Lord gives to us. So that when Jesus says, it's not on bread alone that man lives, but on every word from the mouth of God, that's what he's talking about. Our personal abundance and fullness is the size and depth of our soul. But it's not the only abundance that the Lord wishes for us. Jesus says it's not on bread alone that we live, but we need our bread. We need our raspberries. We need our pasta. And the Lord wishes us to have it. Now, the abundance of food and of drink is here meant to be a feast, a celebration of having enough, which is as good as a feast, and occasionally even having a feast. Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July, birthdays. Being abundant in our celebrations of our lives, of our families. On the other hand, there is the obscenity of poverty. There is the obscenity of people going hungry, without, being homeless, of people starving, of distended bellies. There is the obscenity of hoarding abundance. There is the obscenity of building for ourselves our own kingdoms. So there is the abundance that God desires for us in the sense that not just soul, but food. But there is the obscenity of gratuitous wealth and waste and not sharing. There is the obscenity of poverty, of homelessness. So on this Advent day, the Lord, though, calls us to flourish once again. So flourish today. Cook yourself a beautiful meal. Make several phone calls. Read a book. Be creative. Take a walk. Do what you need to do. Flourish. I'll see what I can do at my end. Peace be with you.